Hello and welcome back to Unboxable Kings. My name is Joshua and the mission of this channel is to help you live free on your own terms. And in this video I want to talk about a skill that you can develop that, if utilized correctly, has unbelievable benefits in your own life, both through regular discourse, talking to people, but also through visual content like this, during interviews, sales calls. Realistically, any time that you're going to be using your voice to benefit your reality, this skill is going to come in hand. And I think as the world becomes more digital, this skill is going to become more pivotal, and I think it's going to help you stand out more, and I think it's going to become more rare that people can actually do this. And I see this more and more as I develop this skill, that other people can't do it, and because other people can't do it, what they produce and when I hear them talk kind of grates on me. So I know that if I was to talk in the same way as them, that I would be grating on my audience and lowering, ultimately, my perceived value. And if your perceived value is low, you can expect low opportunities, low returns on investment, a lower energetic state of life, and that's not really where I want to be. It's probably not where you want to be either. So the skill that I'm talking about is being able to speak at length without using filler words, and specifically the word because if you are producing content, especially if you're producing content, or if you're using your voice for benefit in your own reality, meaning you use it to sell, you use it to share a message, you use it to instruct, anytime you use it, if you are speaking with lots of and filler words, it is without a doubt an easy way to lower your perceived value and grate on your audience. And not only that, probably grate on yourself. And over the last few years, so many people that I've spoken to and met hear themselves talk and they're like, oh, I use a lot of fillers, don't I? I say all the time. And if you hear yourself back talking that way, it is kind of grating. It's not how we're supposed to be, right? Filler words are called filler words because they fill dead space. They don't add value to the speech. They sound, it sounds like you're more not put together. So there's lots of issues as to having filler words in your speech. And I believe that I think I'm currently at 96% on our cooking show. In these videos, it's almost 0% of usage of filler words, but obviously I can edit this a lot easier than the live cooking show that we do, which typically lasts 45 minutes. I'm at like 96% of no erming, which I'm very happy with. So I would say that this is a skill that I've developed. And in this video right now, I want to share with you how I developed it to be able to speak cleanly. It's served me very well. And I love it. I love being able to hear my own voice back and not hear the what, yeah, kind of like, yeah, it's all gone right. So let's talk on how I did it. So firstly, and this is like a lot of skill development, personal development, is that you have to create almost, I don't necessarily like this term, but it's the first one that came in my head, it's a burning desire to want to develop this skill, because this is not necessarily going to be easy work. And ultimately, you can decide to not have it. It's unlikely that anybody's going to get truly upset with you for having filler words. It's unlikely that it's going to show in your life like why this skill is holding you back, so you could just neglect it and ignore it. And if you are going to develop it, you have to develop a very firm why as to why you are going to do it, why you're going to invest the energy, why you're going to teach yourself probably to speak, re-speak. Is that the word? Re-speak? Learn how to speak again without filler words. It's going to take effort and energy. So the first step is setting the standard in your life of what you're going to tolerate. And for me, as you can probably tell, I highly value clean speech and diction. I think it's a very useful skill. I think it's a very classy skill. I think it's how men should communicate, is cleanly. So I have that as one of my highest priorities when producing video. It's how I analyze the camera work. It's how I analyze one of my results, right? I'm not always looking for views. I'm not always looking for click-through and all of that. When I listen back, I'm like, how did I speak? How did I sound? Was I clean? How can I improve on that? So just by setting the intention of you radically transforming your speech allows you to then step into that identity that's actually going to do the work to unlock clean speech. So once you've made that decision, what I would highly encourage you to do is start to record yourself, because once you have the data, it's a whole lot easier to see where and why you're using filler words, because filler words are a tool that the unconscious mind uses to protect itself typically. So if you are nervous, if you are worried about what other people think of you, these are just examples. If you are worried about the outcome of the camera work or your speech, then your brain is naturally going to fumble to fill dead space because it doesn't like the quiet. Most people's egos feel threatened when it's quiet. So if you can see that in your speech, when the ego gets threatened, do you fill the space with or can you teach yourself to just sit and be okay in the silence? And you only know that from recording the data. So that's why the first step is to start recording data, because then you can start to analyze your speech patterns and see specifically when you use the ums and the fillers. So once you have that data and you had that little bit of analysis, it's then time to move into the next step, which is practice. And I like specific practice, where you are recording a video for a specific purpose to achieve a specific outcome. In this one, it's going to be clean speech, right? So what I would do, and this is what I've shared with clients, friends, other people in the past that want to improve on this skill, is you generate a random word and then you have to talk at length, and you can change the length, start maybe 30 seconds if you can do it, 1 minute, 90 seconds, 2 minutes, all the way up realistically to 4 or 5 minutes. It depending on your application of voice. If you're going to be holding longer speeches, you'll have to practice this more. It's like a muscle. And you go through and you talk on that word and then analyze your speech to see where the filler words came in and how frequent they did and why they did. And then it really is just a case from there, always refining the same process. You're going to become aware by recording. You're going to then practice the changes and then just refine and refine and refine. And if you can do that, your speech will improve very, very quickly. Very quickly, because you're deliberately practicing this, and you can start to hear what you'll start to hear is in everybody, almost everybody. And again, you don't have to do this. Successful people, famous people, sports people, they all the time. But as you start to develop and become a cleaner speaker, you'll hear their and it'll be like, ugh. So your awareness will grow. And that really is a lot of this, is putting your awareness on how you sound, how your voice is coming across, where you are not comfortable. So then it's just an iterative practice from there. They're the steps. And then other tools that you can use, I highly encourage you to leverage, is the pre-built-in resetter known as the breath. And when you're talking, if you don't know what to say, just take a breath. And just reset and understand it's going to be okay. And if your audience is not willing to wait for a pause, they're probably not your audience, you know? So you got to get comfortable with some of the outcomes of talking cleaner, is that you're going to change who listens and change who doesn't listen. And it often means, actually, in this world, that you're not going to get to talk as much as you want, because if you actually observe social patterns, typically nobody likes silence, right? So if you're not talking and you take a breath to think, and this has happened to me so many times, you take a breath to think what you're going to say, and then in that breath, somebody else takes over the conversation. And then over time, obviously, you're going to iterate to where that doesn't happen, because you want to be able to hold conversation with people who can actually wait 2 seconds for somebody to, God forbid, think and process on what they're going to say next. And you can iterate your dialogues. And that's why I believe talking with other people who value speech highly is a really good way to practice this all together, because you put all the pieces in real time. You can challenge yourself, record yourself, document yourself, and then fine-tune it. And over time, you can keep a record of the frequency and the causality, and your speech will just get better and better. So to recap this video, I think, at least from my perspective, the number one step to changing the is the actual desire to want to speak cleanly, the actual desire to want to communicate with real efficiency and sound really clean, so not only when you're listening back, but other people, they can enjoy it more. You have to set that as an intention, and it's a skill that you probably didn't develop, right? I don't remember having, and right is a filler word if you picked up on this, that's one of my new ones, I'm aware of that. It's to create rapport with you and also break up my speech. So I'm experimenting with it, it's okay. But you probably weren't taught this, were you? I don't remember the lesson at school where it's like how to speak cleanly, specifically on camera, or specifically in an interview or a sales call. We didn't have those lessons. We taught Pythagoras and about random events. So you have to set the intention to teach it yourself. And then from there, deliberate practice, recording yourself, keeping the right metrics, you'll improve rapidly. And then you can look back, and when your results start to go from video work, speech work, you're going to do it more and more, because people will resonate with your message more and more. People will be drawn more to you. The feedback loop will be created, and I highly recommend trying it. So thank you very much for watching. I encourage you to go develop this skill. Practice, collect the data, set the intention, and keep doing it. Live free, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Much love. Peace.